Hello. Today is Monday, July 13th, 2026. Here is your daily signal.
Bangladesh's first nuclear power plant, Rupur, could reshape the country's energy landscape, with Bloomberg noting that the facility will supply up to 15% of national electricity and significantly reduce dependence on imported fossil fuels. Bangladesh inaugurated the Rupur nuclear power plant in October 2023 in Pabna district, aiming to diversify away from fossil fuels and meet rising energy demands. Construction began in 2016 with Russian state enterprise Rosatom providing the reactor technology and oversight. The Rupur facility is expected to produce 2,400 megawatts once completed, and just this week, final safety tests were finished and fuel loading operations officially began, according to the Dhaka Tribune. Authorities announced that Unit 1 will connect to the national grid in August 2026, as reported by bdnews24.com. Near-term impacts include improved energy security for Bangladesh as Rupur powers up, and over the medium term, the country is set to reduce reliance on imported natural gas and coal. Bangladesh may emerge as a nuclear energy leader in South Asia, boosting economic growth through enhanced productivity and lower energy costs.
Next, onto the impact of artificial intelligence on U.S. inflation. Goldman Sachs warns that the U.S. will bear the brunt of a global surge of AI-induced inflation, estimating that core U.S. inflation will rise by around 50 basis points this year, 5 times the expected increase seen elsewhere.
Advances in generative AI models since 2023 have driven widespread automation across American industries, delivering productivity gains but also fueling new inflationary pressures, especially in sectors like finance and logistics. Economic researchers began tracking the correlation between AI-induced labor displacement and rising costs in mid-2024, and the Federal Reserve noted sector-specific price surges linked to emerging technologies in policy meetings just last month. Bloomberg reported a 2.1% jump in AI service sector costs for June 2026, mainly due to higher prices from Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud. Reuters noted that labor unions filed petitions against Amazon and OpenAI, claiming layoffs from automation have disproportionately affected minority workers. The Wall Street Journal covered Federal Reserve testimony highlighting a 1.5% inflation uptick owed to AI-driven wage polarization, as businesses adjust prices amid job displacement.
In the near term, the U.S.
faces higher digital service costs and rising unemployment in non-technical sectors, while medium-term risks include permanent shifts in wage distribution and tighter central bank policies targeting tech-driven inflation. Persistent inflation could prompt regulatory intervention and calls for broader social safety nets, especially as minority and lower-income workers are hit hardest.
Next, we move to the latest breakthroughs in quantum computing and internet security.
As covered by Next Big Future, recent improvements mean quantum algorithms, especially Shor's algorithm, are dramatically reducing the resources required to crack RSA 2048, the backbone of internet security. RSA 2048 encryption depends on the difficulty of factoring huge 2048-bit integers, but quantum computing research is focused on minimizing qubit counts, circuit depth, and error rates to make breaking this encryption achievable in the near future.
MIT and Google Quantum AI are driving much of this research, with major quantum hardware advancements from IBM and Microsoft.
On July 13, 2026, the Quantum Computing Journal published a paper announcing a 30% reduction in required qubits. Using a hybrid quantum classical approach, MIT demonstrated reduced circuit depth for factorizing RSA 2048 on IBM's quantum platform the same day. The near-term consequence is that financial institutions may now accelerate migration to post-quantum cryptography, and governments may require rapid software updates to counter heightened risks. Over the medium term, the industry will see widespread adoption of quantum-safe digital communication standards, while legacy encrypted data faces retroactive exposure if quantum attacks are successfully deployed within the next few years.
Now, onto the markets.
International markets declined, with Germany's EWG ETF dropping 0.6% and the Netherlands down nearly 1.5%, while France and the UK posted modest losses.
Notably, Chile and Africa saw deeper falls, with Africa's AFK ETF tumbling over 2%.
Major commodities were mixed. Gold GLD slumped by 2.6% and silver SLV sank 3.3%, but U.S. oil USO surged 8.4%, marking energy as today's winner. In U.S. sectors, the S&P 500 SPY slipped 0.8%, weighed down by a 4.8% plunge in semiconductor stocks, while healthcare Roman 45 edged up 0.35%. In notable single stocks, Adobe ABS soared 3.1% and Microsoft MSFT added 1.5%, but Oracle and Marvell MRVL dropped by 6.5% and 7.8% respectively. Among the day's biggest movers, Twin V Power Cats V rocketed 457% to lead gainers, while BNB Plus Corp BNBX suffered the biggest drop, down 65%.
That's it for today. You can find more news and details on our website. Goodbye.